हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम प्रभु जी।
धन्यवाद प्रणाम प्रभु जी, माता जी, जय श्री राम।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
धन्यवाद प्रणाम, बोल प्रभु, हरे कृष्ण। Is my voice clear, audible?
Yeah, प्रभु जी.
Any background noise? No.
No.
Okay. Okay. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा तदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुवैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं सार्वजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देव श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So now, the last chapter, meeting of Kardava Muni with Lord Kapila. Lord Kapila gave Kardava Muni instruction that you can take renunciation now. I will take care of Ma Devahuti and give her enlightenment. And wherever you go, always remember me and offer everything you do in my service. And in this way, you will attain me. And Kardava Muni, he renounced, fully meditated on the Lord, offered whatever he does, offered everything in the service of the Lord. And in this way, Kardava Muni became free from all dualities, free from all hatredness, all desires, became equal to everyone on a spiritual platform, and ultimately attained the kingdom of God. So that's how the chapter ended. Then Sutta Goswami stopped speaking. Like Kardava Muni attained perfection, Lord Kapila came and he delivered Mother Devahuti. So Sonak Rishi said, please describe to us the activities of Lord Kapila, as he is a supreme personality of Godhead who took birth, who is although unborn, he took his birth to disseminate transcendental knowledge for the benefit of the entire man. He is the author of the Vedas. He is worshipable by all living entities. He is the most knowledgeable, and to actually hear about him is always a source of great actual pleasure, transcendental pleasure. So please describe about the conversation between Lord Kapila and Devahuti and his teachings. We are very eager to hear. So Sutta Goswami was very encouraged by seeing the eagerness to hear about Lord Kapila's teachings. Sutta Goswami was encouraged. So he further spoke what Maitra Muni spoke to Vidura about teachings of Lord Kapila. So Sutta Goswami started reciting that section. So after Kardava Muni left, Lord Kapila stayed at Bindu Sarovar. And now only all the 9 daughters, they were married to the 9 sages and they left. And the husband Kardava Muni also left. So only remained Mother Devahuti and Lord Kapila. And Mother Devahuti was very distressed also. because her husband has just taken renunciation and left her. Um, and Lord Kapila, actually, we will say he also will travel everywhere, higher and lower planets, and he will give teachings to many personalities, and he will engage in meditation. But for now, Lord Kapila stayed at the ashram. So Devahuti took that opportunity when Lord Kapila was there and they both were alone. No, it's like in a hermitage. Nobody comes there. Only these two personalities are there. Then Devahuti saw Lord Kapila and she remembered the words of Brahma. Before we discussed when the 9 daughters were born and Kadava Muni was desiring to leave before the appearance of Lord Kapila, that time Brahma came. And Brahma told Devahuti, and Devahuti was very much in distress and telling, "You have given me the 9 daughters, now please give me fearlessness also." Because she was very anxious. Once the daughters will leave, husband will leave, I will be all alone. Um, what will I do? So she's asking her husband, "Please give me fearlessness also before you leave." That time Brahma came, and Brahma reminded Kadava Muni of the Lord will appear as your son. So Kadava Muni should wait. And once the Lord appears, then he should take renunciation and become an instrument for the Lord to appear. And then Brahma also told Devahuti, Brahmaji said, "Don't worry, another son will come, who is the Supreme Lord himself, and he will dissipate all your like doubts and attachments. He will free you basically." So Devahuti remembered that and the Lord himself will come. And Lord Kapila came and he grew big very quickly, like instantaneously. And um, husband left also. So Devahuti know that yeah, growing up instantaneously is not uh, um, um, like Achambe wali baat, because even the daughters grew up very instantaneously when the 9 daughters of Devahuti. So son also grew up instantaneously. So it's like yeah, it's Kada Muni can do many mystical things actually. He can create an airplane from his mind, create 1,000 servants, can take wherever. So for Devahuti, these things was not very astonishing. Even in Dwapar Yuga, uh, the personalities could grow instantaneously, like Draupadi came from the fire and grown up child came from the fire. So even there, that is possible. In Dwapar Yuga, this is like Lord Kapila, like Satya Yuga type. Um, but Brahmaji said the Supreme Lord himself will appear. Devahuti knows that. So, and Devahuti then began to ask questions to Lord Kapila. And she said, um, Devahuti basically, yeah, she asked questions to Lord Kapila. And she know that Lord Kapila, Tattva Marg Agra Darshana, that this personality can do Marg Darshana. मुझे रास्ता दिखाएंगे ये. Um, he will help me. Uh, he will help me. So now the kind of one of the most awaited conversation is the long 8 chapters conversation of Devahuti and Lord Kapila. It begins today. Um, they are there by the Bindu Sarovar. She is sitting. Lord Kapila is sitting. She is very distressed. So Devahuti begins by saying, "I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my own material senses, by which I have fallen into ignorance." So this also stage needs to come for all of us. That very sick of the disturbance caused due to our material senses. These material senses have so many demands, and if we fulfill and if we spend there our and many times we fulfill our or we pass our life fulfilling their demands. And Devahuti has come to the point of being very sick of the demands of these material senses. And they by which I have fallen into ignorance. And they again and again put us into ignorance. So Devahuti is like feeling exhausted, and she's like, I want these demands to go away. Naturally, it is because of the effect of the modes of material nature that these demands are arising. I want them to become free from the modes. I just don't want all these things, these obstacles that are coming. I'm very sick of them. Then she said to Lord Kapila that you are my transcendental eye, Sat Chakshu, like um, basically guiding me in the right direction. And here is my problem. Please help me to cross over uh, this ignorance. By great fortune, after many, many births today, uh, by your own mercy, I have you with me. Please help me remove this ignorance, and whatever is torturing me, these materials are torturing me. And I again and again satisfy their demands and help me cross over this um, desires and fulfilling the desires, demands and desires, and then falling down, and then their demands and desires falling down. I'm sick of it. Mhm. You are like the sun, um, and the sun, once the sun comes, all the darkness is gone. Likewise, you have come to remove the darkness of the entire universe through transcendental knowledge. I know that's why you have come. Um, 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 Please dispel my illusion um, created by your Maya. Um, these illusions are very powerful actually. And they look real, but they're all created by the Maya Shakti of the Lord. So please dispel them. Uh, Dispel this conception of Aham Mameti, that this is my. Um, because this is also a suffering for Devahuti, na? Because she's thinking this is my husband and he has left me. Um, so please dispel this illusion of Aham Mameti, which is which is due to my false ego, and which is created by your Maya. So because of false ego, we think a relationship with this body and whoever is connected to this body, we think a relationship with them. It's actually created by false ego. Um, since it is your Maya Shakti alone that has bewildered me, I ask you only, because you are the only one who can dispel that. Therefore, um, O Lord, I take shelter of you. You are the only person who is worth taking shelter of, and you are like the axe who can cut the tree of material existence. Like an axe is used to cut the trees. So you are like the axe who cut the tree of material existence for your devotee, especially. Um, and you are the best of the knowers of bhakti or dharma. Who else can explain the direction? Satya Chakshu, Margdarshanam, who else can do? And who else can free me? Because whatever my conditioning is by the influence of your illusory energy. Um, then she asked, the first question she asked, please explain me about the living entity and the Prakriti or the material nature. Lord Kapila was listening. Basically, one quality of a sincere sadhaka like Mother Devahuti, who is naturally a pure devotee of the Lord, but we see her in the same way as we see Arjuna, who was bewildered um, with I and mine. This is my grandfather, this is. But we know that um, for many lifetimes he and Lord are together, even in previous birth as Narayan Rishi and many other places. And he's a pure devotee of the Lord, but he was thinking, this is mine, and he was overcome by, um, apparently, he was overcome by illusion, by ignorance, by lamentation. Um, anxiety, and Krishna helped him. Likewise, Mother Devahuti is overcome, although she is also the eternal associate of the Lord. Yeah. And just like how Lord Krishna dispelled Arjuna's um, fear and uh, Arjuna's attachments and other things, likewise Lord Kapila will help Mother Devahuti here. So hearing, she was desperate actually. She was desperate to come out, stop the cycle of the demand of material senses. And she's begging for Lord mercy and guidance from the Lord. And she is feeling very helpless. She's feeling like by my own strength I cannot do it without your help. So I'm approaching you. And she's telling that who else can I go to approach? Whom do I ask what to do? Because you are the one who is worth taking shelter of, and you are the one who has written these Vedas and who knows the path of Dharma and who is guiding sages and sincere people and giving them um, freedom from this material existence is time immemorial. And by my great fortune, now I have a direct association. Whom else do I approach? Please guide me. So Lord Kapila was very pleased by hearing mother's uncontaminated desire. This is also very nice that Mother Devahuti desire was very pure, and her desire was like she doesn't want her husband to come back. Usually, when distress comes or when we lose something, when something is lost, then we ask Krishna to get us back what is lost. But here Devahuti is not asking, bring back my husband. Like, we see sometime in Bhagavatam somewhere, bring back my son, or so Devahuti is not asking. uh, the cause. Devahuti is not telling husband losing me is the cause of distress, but she is telling this false ego because of which I consider as something as belong to me, and a false identification of who I am and what belongs to me, which is mameti, which is basically because of your illusory energy and because of the demand of my own senses, I am the problem. Um, Please remove this so I can become free and pure. So this desire is described as uncontaminated desire, and this was very pleasing. She's not asking any material um, um, thing to overcome her, like what she's lacking, but she's asking, just take free me from this material existence. I'm sick of it. So this was very pleasing. So because of that, Lord Kapila thanked her mentally. This is also very nice that Lord Kapila thanked her mentally, because the living entity has a desire what to desire. Living entity can desire um, to fix the material situation in a way that one can become comfortable in this material world. When one becomes sick, many times one tries to um, um, repair through a better material situation. But he is like, I'm, I'm done with this entire thing only. Now I just want freedom from it. Um, this false ego and illusory energy and this very powerful and take me beyond to your kingdom. So this was very pleasing. So Lord Kapila thanked her. Srila Prabhupada also says that when somebody desires Krishna, Krishna makes special arrangement and shows special mercy to that personality who desires Krishna. But others, anyways. So, so Lord Kapila explained the path of uh, for how the soul can cross over or go beyond the entanglements in this world. Um, so Lord Kapila says that this yoga, which is the yoga of the soul, this knowledge of the soul, is the most beneficial. And we see Lord Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita that this is purest of all pure. This is most confidential. This is the best of all the sciences. So here also Lord Kapila says the science of the soul, or the yoga concerning the soul, is the best and most beneficial, and this causes detachment from material happiness and distress. Um, Causes detachment from material happiness and distress. Detachment to attachment, yeah, attachment to happiness, and aversion to distress. Um, one one becomes indifferent to both, through this knowledge of the science of the soul. Um, mm. So Srila Prabhupada explains that this yoga of the soul referred to bhakti yoga, referred to jnana yoga, or referred to ashtanga yoga. And Lord Krishna also says in Bhagavatam that for the benefit of the living entities, I have created these three paths of Gyan, Yoga, and Bhakti, or Ashtanga Yoga, Gyan Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. And all these three helps to elevate the soul. Different destination, the Gyanis aspire for impersonal liberation, others Paramatma and one Bhagavan, different destination. But they all help the living entity go beyond the entanglements in this world. Mm. Then the Lord said, now I will explain to you all these limbs of Adhyatmika Yoga. Adhyatmika means spiritual. This is Karma, Jnana, Ashtanga, all of them. I will explain to you this Adhyatmika Yoga. Um, and then Lord says, I have explained this to the great sages earlier. So just like how Lord Krishna says, I spoke this science to Arjuna did not ask about the history of this science. Whom all have you spoken to? Lord himself said that this knowledge is not new, but I gave it to sun god, who gave it to Manu, who gave it to Ikshvaku. It was coming down. So Lord Kapila here says that I have given this knowledge of the science of the soul um, in the past to great sages earlier, and now I will explain this same science to you. And all the limbs of this yoga systems are easy to perform. And then Lord Kapila began. Now the teaching begins. Lord Kapila first gives confirmation that now I will speak this science, which is the best science, which I have spoken to the sages earlier. And mentally, he is grateful for having this pure desire of becoming free from this material entanglement. Um, and he confirms, I will listen now, he tells Devahuti. And then Lord Kapila says, the mind is the pivot. Pivot means um, with pivot, you can either be on this side or this side. So mind is the pivot, like the central, and it can go either way. If the mind is attached to gunas, material modes, it causes bondage to this world. But if the same mind becomes attached to Supreme Lord, then it causes liberation. Uh, Naturally, when we engage in activities um, uh, which are not transcendental by nature, then it's gonna further bind us to this material world. But when the same mind is chanting Hare Krishna, remembering Krishna, uh, same mind causes liberation. Um, it's so nice actually. I was listening to one lecture by Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was speaking on this verse of Antya Narayana Smriti, is remembering Narayan at the end of one's life. That is the goal of life, to remember Narayan at the end of one's life. And he was mentioning about this story. I've heard it. Many of you may have heard it many times. But this one scholar who was doing some geological excavation, and he was going, he took a boat, and then in the middle of the ocean, he asked this boatman, do you know this geological excavation, how it is done? So the boatman is like simple boatman. He said, no, sir, I don't. He was a German kind of person. So then he said, you don't know how to do excavation? 25% of your life is waste. Then the boatman said, all right, what can he do? Then this gentleman said, and you know how to measure these heights, and how to make the graph of higher and lower things? The boatman said, no, I don't know this. Then the German said, 50% of your life is wasted. So he said, okay. Then there was black clouds and storm started to come. Then the boatman asked, um, do you know how to swim, sir? Then the German said, no, I don't know how to swim. Boatman said, 100% of your life is wasted. Why, what will you do now? 100% is wasted. So these um, um, so Srila Prabhupada was mentioning what is the use of all this temporary education and everything that we are running after and we are attaining and everything we are doing. What is the use of that? If Antya Narayana Smriti is not there, then what is the use of that human form of life? The whole life is wasted and one become cats and dogs. And you know how Srila Prabhupada speaks very effectively. So Prabhupada says, entire life is wasted. If the life is not worshipping Krishna, every moment of entire life is wasted. Why? Because the goal is Ante Narayana Smriti. Um, uh, very nice. Then Prabhupada quoted this verse, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavakta Jatyate Kalay Kalay Valam. Whatever you remember time of that state you attain. So uh, we can make our life useful by practicing this Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada in full ecstasy. So Lord Kapila here says the mind is the pivot point. If it is attached to material modes, it will bind us to this material existence. But if the same mind becomes attached to Krishna, it is the cause of liberation. When mind is cleansed of unwanted anarthas like lust, greed, which are produced from false ego, because of false ego only lust arises. First, I am this body, and I'm the enjoyer through this body, so let me enjoy. So lust, greed, I am this body, and this is what all I need for this body to be comfortable. Whatever. They're all produced from false ego. So when the mind is cleansed of all these anarthas like lust and greed, which are produced from false ego, then then one can transcend, go beyond the dualities of this material existence. Uh, the soul is always by default, the soul is always pure. So mind has to be cleansed. Mind is the decision maker. Mind will either make us drag in 8.4 billion species here, or mind will take us back to kingdom of God. So we need to clear the mind of uh, unwanted things. And how can the mind reach that stage of perfection or purification? It is through bhakti. Um, hmm. um, and how does the mind reach this stage of purification? It is through bhakti, endowed with knowledge and detachment. Um, and it is through bhakti, and as one practice this, naturally bhakti has this is okay. So there are three things: there is bhakti, there is gyan, and there is vairagya. First I will speak just a couple of lines in my own words. There is bhakti, there is gyan, and there is yoga. Bhakti when it is endowed with Gyan and Vairagya, who are considered as the two children of Bhakti. Um, we hear that Bhakti is not dependent on Gyan and Vairagya, but Bhakti give rise to Gyan and Vairagya. And when one practice Bhakti with Gyan and Vairagya, then the material influence acts less powerfully on that person. Uh, like Srila Prabhupada also says, as we progress in our spiritual life, Maya will loosen her grips on us. Like same thing Lord Kapila here says, material influence acts less powerfully on that person through devotion. Like the kind of situation which would bring anger to us or various other unwanted habits, but would easily bring, now they have to some extent settle down, maybe to a little extent. Still, unlimited is still there, but to some extent settle down. So one can see that the material influence acts less powerfully, although we are not free from it, though. Mhm. Mm. Um, so first, Lord Kapila speaks about the path of bhakti, and then mm, also eventually the path of Sankhya and the path of yoga, all other paths. So first comes the path of bhakti, and Lord Kapila says that bhakti is the only auspicious path. Um, um, Perfection in self-realization can be attained in any kind of um, perfection in self-realization cannot be attained by any kind of yoga unless he engages in bhakti. But that is the only auspicious path. Like whether one takes the path of Ashtanga yoga, whether one takes the path of Jnana yoga, um, one can attain perfection in their desired results only with the presence of bhakti. Like the goal of Ashtanga is Paramatma realization, and the goal of Gyan is impersonal Brahman realization. Gyanis can attain Brahman realization only if there is bhakti with the Gyan. And um, um, yogis can attain Paramatma realization only if there is bhakti with the yoga. So these are called um, um, Gyan Mishra Yoga, and Bhakti Mishra Gyan or Bhakti Mishra Yoga. And it is said the path of Gyan Mishra Bhakti. Gyan is primary and bhakti is secondary. But that secondary bhakti is required for Gyan to cultivate. For that impersonal Brahman relation to be attained, bhakti is still required. And we have personally seen in our own lives, there are many people who worship Lord as Brahman, um, and their goal is to attain impersonal liberation, and they don't believe God as a form, and they also believe that we are all um, like there is no difference between us and God. They have all these conceptions, yet those people also come and chant and do kirtan with their own conception. um, um, and that's what they are taught. They are teachers. They also teach about Krishna, about Krishna's different incarnation. They glorify, they hear, and then they say the goal is this. So uh, so that from our own personal examples, we have seen that how um, they are practicing a path. They mainly focus on Brahman, but still bhakti is there, although they don't consider that as the goal. And same thing, Ashtangi also, when they realize Paramatma, they actually surrender to Paramatma, prays to Paramatma, meditates on Paramatma, remembers, concentrates. And Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam is Bhakti, Vishnu Smaran. So whether Jnani or Ashtanga Yogi, they can attain perfection. Bhakti angle has to be there. But here Lord Kapila is telling that pure bhakti path is the most auspicious path, and it is the best. And without it, other yoga paths can also not attain perfection. Um, and in this chapter, see, the chapter is beginning very clear question and very clear answer. What is a very clear question? Very clear question is, how do I become free from your illusory energy? How do I attain your kingdom? I am sick of the demands of these material senses and feeling helpless in front of them. What do I do? Then in this chapter, Lord Kapila explains bhakti is the most auspicious path, and most of this chapter focuses on how to practice bhakti. Then Devahuti asks about other paths also. Naturally, we see when we like devotees, they ask Prabhu, what is Karma Yoga? What is this Jnana Yoga? So naturally, everyone is eager to hear about all the paths. it's just I am also eager to know all the path. Although we are dedicated to bhakti, we are still eager to understand everything. So likewise, Devahoti is eager to understand, and Lord explains everything. But Lord is very clearly saying here that bhakti is the most auspicious path, and without this, no other yoga path can attain perfection. Although all the yoga path help are spiritual, they are adhyatmika yoga, um, or they help us liberate from this material entanglement and unwanted desires in the mind. They all will help us progress spiritually. Um, but bhakti is the core, is the key. Um, then Devahuti asks, how do I get bhakti? Lord Kapila says, sadhus. You can get bhakti by sadhus. Um, Recently, I saw a clip of like there's a serial. Uh, there is a serial. It's called Abhay. It was made by His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. So I saw a clip of it, and there Bhakti Vinod Thakur is telling to Vimala Prasad. Vimala Prasad is telling, how do I attain perfection in that serial? And Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, it is possible only if you get the mercy of a pure devotee of the Lord. Then Vimala Prasad said, where do I find um, um, a pure devotee of the Lord who can um, help me attain perfection? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, can you think of somebody? Then he is thinking. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, one personality is there who is completely pure and very dear to Lord Krishna. He can give you bhakti. Vimala Prasad said, who is that? Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. You should go and beg for his mercy. Then Vimala Prasad became very joyful, and then he went. After many repeated attempts, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, don't come back unless you accept that pure devotee as your spiritual master. And then after repeated attempts, Vimala Prasad got his mercy. So here, Lord Kapila clarified that bhakti is the most auspicious. That Devavati asked, how does one attain bhakti? And Lord Kapila says only one answer. And she says, association of sadhus. That opens the door for liberation. And Lord Kapila says, and on the other hand, materialistic association causes entanglement. So then Devahuti asks, how do I get a sadhu? And what are the characteristics of a sadhu? What are the activities of a sadhu? How do I identify a sadhu? These are all very, very uh, um, um, famous verses. Actually, you may have heard these verses many, many times. Probably the most glorious um, um, verses in the entire canto, or maybe some of the key, most important verses in entire Bhagavatam is spoken by Lord Kapila in this chapter. That's why the name of the chapter is Glory of Devotional Service. And this is one verse that we just read. प्रसङ्गमजरं पासम् आत्मना कवयो विदु स एव साधुषो कृतो मोक्षद्वारम् अपावृतम् स एव साधुषो कृतो. So Devotee said, how do I get bhakti? Sa eva sadhuso krito. You have to take association of sadhus. Moksha dwaram apavrita. And that's what uh, Devotee Maya was asking. How do I'm sick of this. How do I get free from this? And here is the answer. Sa eva sadhu sukrito moksha dwaram apavritam. You will be liberated from all your demands of this material sense and sickness if you associate with sadhus. So Devahuti asked, yes, what are the characteristics? So Lord Kapila says there is primary characteristics and there is secondary characteristics. How do we identify a sadhu? So the secondary characteristic of sadhu is Titikshava Karunika Suhrida Sarvadehina Ajata Satrava Shanta Sadhava Sadhu Bhushana. Sadhu Bhushana mean these are the characteristics of sadhus. These are the ornaments of a sadhu. That the sadhu is tolerant, Titikshava, sadhu is Karunika, merciful. Um, um, Merciful means even to those who harm us, merciful unto them also, even to those yeah, who give pain to us, or who speaks ill of us, or whatever. And the best example is Nityananda Prabhu. How those who harmed him, um, he was merciful to them also, like Jagai and Madhai. So that is Karunika, merciful to all. Titikshava, he is tolerant. Karunika, he is merciful. Suhurida, friend. Sarvadehita, he is friend to all living beings. Or basically, he is well-wisher of all living beings. Like Srila Prabhupada would say, your ever well-wisher. We can say well-wisher, but we cannot say ever well-wisher. Ever well-wisher, only a liberated soul, a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada may say. How can one say ever well-wisher? Means no matter what you do to me, I will remain your well-wisher. Ever. There will never be a time, independent of how the material circumstances change, that I will cease to act as a well-wisher. Our well-wishes is like, Prabhu, please help me. Yeah, I desire well for you. But then they change gears and we may change gears. So ever well-wisher only a Shuddha Bhakta can say. Suhrida Sarvade. This is a quality of a sadhu. Um, um, if like today morning one Vaishnava was telling me how much hard time one of his family members was giving to him, how much hard time, and he would simply sit and chant and pray for that family member. I'm like, oh, you're a sadhu, like always merciful, tolerant, not reacting in any way, and ever well wisher. uh, Ajata, Sattarva Shanta, he does not have any enemies. But if he has any enemy, then the previous line will fall. Will Suhrida Sarva Deshna, friend to all living entities, and having enemies contradictory. So he is friend to all living entity, and he does not have an enemy. Then Sadhava. Sadhava means he does what scripture says. He follows scriptures and he reads scriptures. Sadhava. Sadhu Bhushanam. These are the secondary characteristics by which one can know one sadhu. Why is this coming? Because sadhus are the means to get bhakti. Why bhakti? That is the most auspicious path. Other paths are also there, but they are also dependent on bhakti. Bhakti is the key. And why this bhakti? Why the path of bhakti? Um, for that, Lord Kapila says, mind. Mind is the cause of liberation. Mind is a cause of bondage. And how and when mind is free from all the impurities like lust and greed, um, it becomes free from dualities. And then one will be free from all this, like what Devahuti said, I'm sick of these material demands and demands of the senses. So mind has to become purified. How the mind can become purified? There, Lord Kapila says, there is Adhyatmika Yoga, and among them the most auspicious Bhakti. And Bhakti is attained by Sadhu, and these are the characteristics of Sadhu. Um, um, then what are the primary characteristics? In primary characteristics, it says, Mai ananyena bhavena bhaktim kurvanti ye ridam. Mai ananyena bhavena bhaktim. Onto me Ananya Bhakti. This is the primary. Ananya, this Ananya Bhakti, this comes in Bhagavad Gita also. Bhagavad Gita is also a book of Bhakti Yoga. And the essence of Bhagavad Gita is spoken in these few verses by Lord Kapila also. Ananya Chintayanto Mam ye jana par upasate. Um, um, Ananya. Anya means something else. Ananya means nothing else. Single pointed. Like an oil. Bhavena Bhakti onto me. Staunch devotional service, undeviated, onto me is the primary characteristic. So basically, there may be a chance you may see a sadhu, and he may not be tolerant, or he may not show mercy. Say in some instances, he may not act as a friend of all living beings. He may consider somebody as one's enemy. He may not be peaceful. He may not abide by the scriptures. Those are only secondary characteristics. Primary characteristics is he is engaged in ananya, undeviated devotional service. That is the primary characteristics. Like we see in that clip, I saw Gaur Babaji Maharaj is telling um, um, Vimala Prasad, go away from here. I am not a guru. Find some qualified guru. I am not a guru. Go away, go away. Um, so in a way, one can say that Gaur Babaji Maharaj, although in his humility, obviously this is natural humility, but he's like, in a way, he doesn't want any disciple. One may say that Vimala Prasad may think Babaji Maharaj is not giving his mercy onto me, and not that Babaji Maharaj is purposefully not showing mercy, but he just doesn't feel he can give any mercy. He says, if you don't know how to find Guru, then go and ask Krishna. Krishna will give you a Guru. Go away from here. Don't come here again. So in this way, many times Vimala Prasad was rejected from. So it no, we may not be able to see or may not be able to understand. Sometimes like Prabhupada would become angry um, if the disciples would do something which is not like uh, like for the sake of training the disciples, because they would do some things which are just unacceptable in service to Krishna. um, may not be peaceful, um, um, and sometimes there may be many instances where secondary characteristics may not be met, but primary characteristic is always continuously without deviation engage in serving Krishna always. So that's a primary characteristic. So those sadhus, Lord Kapila says, you have to find who are doing Ananya Bhakti to me, and through them they will open your door for liberation. What do they do? These sadhus. Um, 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 uh, Lord Kapila says, Mad Ashraya, Katha, Shanvanti, Kathayanti Cha. They are always engaged in hearing about me. Katha, Shanavanti. They are hearing. Kathayanti, they are glorifying me, remembering me. Madasha, always take shelter of me. So these are the characteristics of sadhus. And in this way, they engage in a staunch, undeviated devotional service. And their qualities are they are tolerant, but secondary quality tolerant, merciful, friendly, no enemies, Shanta, always peaceful, abide by the scriptures, and these sadhus, and they are the cause of liberation. So you associate with such sadhus to get prema. This is the path of bhakti, and this is what will free you. My dear mother, seek attachment to such detached sadhus. So this is so unique that here Devahuti is asking the Lord. The Lord is the one. Bhakti is his energy. Um, Aladini Shakti is the energy of Shri Krishna. Bhakti comes from Krishna. All the sadhus, whatever devotion they have, is Krishna's mercy on them. And here she is how to get bhakti, and the Lord Himself is telling, go to sadhu. They will get seek attachment to such detached sadhus, to such sadhus. They will destroy the evil effects of material attachment. Um, um, Very interesting, actually. See, this is Lord Krishna actually says, surrender unto me. Lord Krishna says, come to me, remember me. And here Lord Kapila is telling, go to sadhus. Who are sadhus? They do what Krishna is telling. They always remember Krishna, get attached to Krishna, bow down to Krishna, discuss about Krishna. They do all these things. You go to them and they will give you what they have. And then you will also become sadhu. You go to them. Um, um, then this is another very, and how the sadhus help. Then this is another, these are some of the very key verses of entire Bhagavatam. Satam prasanga mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana katha tajoshanadashva pargavartmani Shraddharatir bhakti anukramishyati. Very, very famous verse. Krishna Katha in association of sadhus is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart, and can give ruchi, ashakti, bhav, and prem in sequence. What is that? What the sadhus do? Sadhus will glorify Katha, Hari Katha. When you go and meet sadhu, sadhu will do Hari Katha. What will be the effect of that Hari Katha? That Hari Katha, you will find it very pleasing. You will find it very satisfying to the ear. You will find it very nourishing to the heart. And you will find that that Hari Katha will give you taste. You hear here and you will be attached to it. And you will become attached to the Lord by hearing about the Lord from sadhus. And then you keep hearing about the Lord, and emotions will arise for the Lord. And you keep hearing from the sadhus about the Lord from the sadhus, and you will develop love. And all this thing will happen one by one in sequence. Um, So the only process that Lord Kapila is telling here, Lord Kapila is telling, go get association, here in association with faith, and it will take us to Anatanivriti, Ruchi, Ashakti, Bhav, Prem, and everything will be attained. Go and hear from sadhus. Having described pure bhakti, um, this is like the direct question, what do I do? Direct answer, uh, pure Ananya Bhakti, which is the property of the sadhus, and they will give it to you, and you will go back to Godhead. That's it. Uh, Lord Kapila teachings, essence of Lord Kapila teachings is done. And then then Devahuti wants to know about other paths also. She is curious to know everything. Um, um, then after describing this path of pure bhakti yoga, then Kapila Muni, Lord Kapila describes about um, Bhakti Mishra Yoga first. Bhakti Mishra Yoga. Um, um, and Gyan Mishra Yoga. Both the path Lord Kapila will uh, describe further. So Devahuti asked some more questions. And Devahuti said, what kind of bhakti should I perform to easily attain your feet? Explain the Gyan path by which one can understand. Explain what kind of bhakti should one perform to get attached to your lotus feet. Um, what is the path of Gyan? Explain that, and explain the path of yoga. Um, and how can one attain liberation to the path of yoga, which is Ashtanga yoga? How many limbs this path of yoga has? Thus, although Devahuti understands that she should perform bhakti only approved by the Lord, she also inquires about yoga and jnana. And Devahuti says, my intelligence is not very great to understand this path of yoga and jnana, but by your mercy, I want to understand these paths also. So Lord Kapila became compassionate and described to her the path of Sankhya and the path of yoga mixed with bhakti. Um, mm, mm. so, what kind of bhakti? The first question Devahuti asked is, what kind of bhakti should I perform? Then Lord Kapila says that you perform bhakti which is free from material desires. You perform bhakti which is beyond gunas. But basically, you perform bhakti which is pure. That kind of bhakti you should practice. Um, and what does that kind of, how can one get to that kind of pure bhakti? Then Lord Kapila says, first thing is uh, engage the senses in the service of the Supreme Lord. Use the senses. Um, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevana Bhakti Ruchyate. This is a similar verse. Narad Muni also speaks. What is bhakti? He says, engaging our senses in the service of the Lord. We see that from Maharaj Ambari's pastime, his hands, his legs, his tongue, his eyes, his body, everything was engaged to serve the Lord. So engaged, Lord Kapila says, without material desire, pure, engage the senses to serve the Lord. Um, dedicate your mind um, to remember the Lord exclusively. Um, so these are the two. One is perform without material desire, use the senses to serve the Lord, and uh, engage the mind to exclusively remember the Lord. Basically, ananya bhakti. Uh, this kind of bhakti you should practice. Such bhakti will quickly destroy the subtle body, just as a digestive fire consumes food, no matter how much. Like a child can eat anything, and that digestive fire can just digest all the food that goes into it. Likewise, the subtle body may be very rebellious, the mind, ego, intelligence, the subtle body, and everything, the whole subtle body can be destroyed by such bhakti very quickly, which is pure, engaging the senses, engaging the mind, which is without any material desires. Never desire um, impersonal liberation. Actually, the path of Gyan is impersonal liberation. But here, because about Lord Kapila is giving his full mercy, Lord Kapila is telling, never desire impersonal liberation. Always engage in the service of my lotus feet and glorify my activities in association of devotees. Like, very nice, actually. Um, in devotee association, discuss about my glory, make my lotus feet as your goal, and never aspire for impersonal liberation. Um, uh, see my attractive smiling face, um, my various transcendental forms, talk, talk, talk favorably about me. Um, such bhakti gives liberation without separate endeavor, although not desired by. And if one performs such bhakti of remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, associating with devotees of the Lord, engaging one's senses in the service of the Lord, hearing about the Lord, seeing the smiling face of the Lord, and if one performs such bhakti, then by these activities, even if one is not desiring liberation, that bhakti will give them liberation nonetheless. So a devotee doesn't have to desire, he just have to continuously engage, and liberation will naturally come to them. Um, um, and devotees don't desire higher planets, don't desire astasiddhis, and don't even desire kingdom of God. Yet they attain all benediction, and I award them my own abode also. Devotees don't want any, they don't want, like it is also mentioned elsewhere, that devotees don't want five kind of liberation. They don't want kingdom of God. They don't want astasiddhis. They don't want higher planets or material opulence. But the Lord is telling, by the process of bhakti, they attain all the benedictions. They are even not deprived of any opulence. Bhakti can give whatever, Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter last verse, whatever result is obtained by the path of Gyan, by the process of karma, by the process of yoga, Paramatma relation is attained, Brahman is also attained, karma, material desires, everything is fulfilled. Everything is attained by bhakti. Bhakti will give us everything. Um, um, pure bhakti will give us everything. Pure bhakti is giving up all attachment to this world, and devotee exclusively worship the Lord, um, without, like without any desires, without any motives. The devotee exclusively worship the Lord, and that exclusive worship without any desire will give everything. But a devotee doesn't desire. um, like we say, Dhruv Maharaj doesn't desire anything and take everything. So if a devotee doesn't desire and just selflessly want to serve the Lord, then all the benedictions will be given. He doesn't want astasiddhis given. He doesn't want material opulence given. So the pure devotees have all the material opulence. That pure devotee have all the mystical powers. The pure devotees have everything. It's whatever other paths give. Bhakti, when one does not desire anything and just want to render service to the Lord, all these things are like given. And even liberation is given. Um, One of our acharya says liberation is standing at my doorstep, but I'm not interested to open the door. Let us stand at the door only. I just want to serve my Nandanandana. So it's like all is given. Fear of material world cannot be overcome by any means except by devotion to me. Um, Later, before, of course, the Lord is sitting in the heart of Devahuti. Devahuti earlier asked, "My dear husband, you are going to give me fearlessness also. Um, uh, Bhaja hure manashi nandanandana abhaya charana ravendane." So here the Lord is telling, fear of material world cannot be overcome. Everyone is fearful in this world. um, but that fear cannot be overcome by any means except devotion to me. So through bhakti, all the other paths perfection, their results also given. Those paths cannot attain perfection without bhakti. um, um, Fear is also gone by the process of bhakti. Then the Lord says, this material world, everything is run by fear. Out of fear only the wind blows, the sun shines, Indra pours rain, fire burns, death catches everybody. Everything is happening by fear only. And that fear of material world can be overcome by no other means except then devotion. So take my shelter for perfection. The greatest benefit can be achieved only by offering one's mind in intense bhakti to me. This is the last verse. Tivra bhakti. Tivrena bhakti yogena manomai arpitam sthiram. Therefore, engage with Tivra bhakti. That's how the greatest benefit can be achieved. Yeah, and that's all. This is so pure teaching. That's Lord Kapila. Clear. And then now Lord Kapila will explain the path of Gyan and path of Yoga and many things which devotees are always eager. But the clear question, clear answers of Lord Kapila is very nice. Okay, so any discussion? Anybody would like to ask?
Yes, sure. Yep. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Shri Prabhupada and Gurudev. Thank you, Prabhuji. Such wonderful class once again. My simple question is, Prabhuji, when um, Lord Kapila is saying very quickly the subtle body gets dissolved. How quickly is very quickly? Like, I mean, like, what should be our, like, thought process in the sense that, okay, very quickly I'm thinking tomorrow, day after, 1 week, 10 days. But then it becomes frustrating when we here try to do it, but it seems like it doesn't happen. So what is a real, like, how should a devotee see these words in this aspect, that they are satisfied also, and we can keep progressing also, not become depressed. It's not happening to me, maybe it's happening to everyone else, and that's what the Shastra also says very quickly. But why am I still struggling so hard? Something like that. Sorry, Prabhuji.
Well, I think this is a question every practicing devotee has this question, including myself. Uh, but I personally feel, Mataji, is we want to become busy practicing devotional service, um, and that will make us keep going. Um, we are hearing in the morning, in the afternoon, in the night, or we are chanting, or we are serving, and in this way we keep ourselves engaged. Mm. The process is given by Lord Kapila here is association, hearing, remembering, glorifying, serving with one's senses, and keep on doing this. Then very quickly it will attain. Quickly is also a relative term, because um, if we compare quickly from the breath of Mahavishnu, then what is one life? If we see from that perspective, or see from the perspective of devatas, demigods, will live for millions of years. What is a human life? So it's a very relative term when we talk about quickly. Um, and that's why the devatas are like thousands of generations of human beings are passing by, and devatas are not able to make any progress and still attached. And they think, hey, who is this Lord Chaitanya? He has come and he's delivering like left and right. The whole universe is delivering. What are we doing in this heavenly planet? We should go down. He's just delivering everybody. Next 10,000 years, he's just delivering everybody just by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So again, this because we are in our own time perspective now. Quickly is a very relative term. Um, um, but I have also heard it's not that we are seeking the goal only. The goal is the subtle body will be dissolved, but we are enjoying the process. We are enjoying the journey also. We are not just trying to enjoy the results. We are enjoying the journey means we are trying to become absorbed in the journey and relishing the journey of serving Krishna, associating with devotees, and just the journey of Bhakti Yoga. Um, um, Prabhupada quickly term is this lifetime. This lifetime will come back to God. We will struggle with this lifetime. That's my few thoughts, Mataji, on this.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. This point that you made really brought me back into the perspective. We are actually enjoying the journey. You are right. Yes, problems and struggles are there, no doubt. Unbelievable struggles are there, but like you said, we are still enjoying the journey. That's true. And then same thing, like you said, right? I just dawned on me. Brahmaji has to wait trillions and trillions of years to go back. That also you taught us. And how for us it's like, okay, one lifetime, okay, next lifetime. Like I think you only taught in one of our classes that Har Smriti Prabhu said, like maybe 4 lifetimes or something. So what is that in front of Brahmaji? Oh, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very grateful. Got
Thank you.
it.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Any other thoughts, discussions?
Dhanwad Pranam Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, all those
Then
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Prabhuji, Mother Devhuti, when she inquired, saying that how can I free myself from this conception of mine? So, as we discussed that she was not praying for her husband to come back, but she was praying that attachment to go. So, I, um, I was contemplating like this. This should be the result of following some yoga. Um, so I was contemplating like yes, um, like if I consider myself, the same question. I mean, although I'm practicing that, but it's not Vigyan. It's Gyan that way. So any inspiration on that, Roji? Like, is there something more that like as you answered this previous question, that it's a part of like practicing bhakti, but then actually let me go back to Krishna or something like that. Anything on that? Roji?
So your question is, how is it that she is able to pray, not
Yeah.
for situation to improve, but for freedom from this existence?
Yes, yes, Prabhu. How without knowing about any yoga or anything like how?
Prabhu, she is, that's why Lord Kapila, it is said, Lord Kapila thanked her mentally. Oh, great, Mata. Thank you. Thank you for having the right direction, right inspiration. I feel a lot because that's what Kadamba Muni has shown by his example. And that's what before he got married, he said the goal of life is to attain the Lord. The Lord is my ultimate authority, and that's why after marriage I will work in that direction. And she sees her father pure devotee of the Lord and freed from all pure devotee. Actually, her father Manu, her husband, the Lord. So her association and everything is like clear that this is the goal. So she knows and she is thinking, why am I caught up in this? Everyone is like going attaining the goal, returning, and
Perfectly got it. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. All your mercy. Anything else? Okay. Thank you very much. We'll resume next week in the next chapter of Lord Kapila's teachings. It will become more complex, so please forgive me for that. And it may be like really complex, some of them. Vanchakalpatarubhesha Kripasindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Ananda Koti Vaishnavibhyo. Thank you for joining. Dhanvad Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Dandavat.
Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very
Thank you
grateful.
so much. Hare
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.